absolutely essential part of being a good leader is understanding how to manage conflicts. Conflicts are inevitable, they must happen. But how you manage a conflict then determines the outcome at the end of the day. I am Adekemi Adefisayo, and you are welcome to the Seed Chat. On the show today, we'll be talking about how to manage conflict in teams. Keep watching. You're welcome right back to the show, and joining us today is an all-time favorite. I mean, I know we have a couple of favorites, but if you think about it, well, let's not waste much time. Let's make our introduction already. Hello, Mr. Jibola Bamidele.
Hello, thank you.
You know, we've just come to fall in love with you so much on the show. We're like, oh my God, when is he coming next?
Okay, good.
It's so good to have you.
Yeah, back.
And you look amazing.
Thank you. You look amazing too.
Thank you. All right. Today we're talking about a very, very interesting topic, and a delicate one at that, because many a times most leaders find it difficult to manage. And we're talking about conflict on the show today. Conflict management in teams.
Wow.
My very first question is, what causes conflict in teams?
Okay, so somebody said if all of us are thinking the same way, then somebody's not thinking. So the first thing is we're diverse.
Wow.
And everybody's interest is also different. What everybody's looking for, what motivates A and B is totally different. So even though, number one, we're trying to achieve the same goal, we might experience certain conflicts. And it's possible also that somebody wants to achieve another goal, so it's causing division. So it depends on what kind of conflict are we talking about. Is it conflict that is taking us out of our goal, or is it conflict within, while we're trying to achieve our goal, we're still going to experience different conflicts. So the one outside our goal is a no-no.
That should be cut off, shut down.
That's not even what we should start talking about. We should talk more about the ones alongside the goals we want to achieve. So we have two kind of conflict then. We have the interpersonal and we have the task-oriented conflict.
What's the difference?
So the difference is that interpersonal is I'm beefing you.
Okay.
Interpersonal, which is just those are distractors. Probably because of team immaturity, a lot of things. Look at how are you behaving like that? Look at how he's looking at me. I don't like, where is it coming from? Who does he think he is? Yeah, those kind of things. Is it because he's dressing that way, that he's not talking to me anyhow? Now, that's interpersonal conflicts. Of course, those ones come out of maybe sense of insecurity inside. Somebody lacks character. Some certain things that that's not. But there's also a kind of conflict called task-oriented. We want to achieve, so we have limited resources, so we are fighting. Because who will use this first? Who's going to get this first? I need this to achieve my goal. Or I have a different value system. I have different ways I work, and it's conflicting with the other way this guy works, and they started fighting. Task-oriented. This person likes eating from the end. This one likes eating from the side.
Someone likes to eat their meat first. Someone likes to eat their meat later.
Yeah. So we're conflicting, but we want to finish the food. So we're conflicting with which one should we do first. No, I want us to eat the rice first. No, I want to eat the meat first. Anyway, those are task-related conflicts.
So in a situation like this, how can a leader manage it in such a way that the outcome doesn't have a negative effect, be it on the organization and the goal, the big picture?
Okay, since I'm still talking about the conflicts, you have to manage both. You have to manage both interpersonal, you have to manage also task. So, but the task-oriented conflict is like, the easiest way to manage task conflict, number one, be clear about the goals that you want to achieve as a team. Because you're coming together to achieve a goal. So the goal screens a lot of things out. Number two is that you must make sure you have the right people on the seat. Because if you have someone that is occupying a role that is not competent for that role, and my task is dependent on that person,
cause a rift.
We're going to fight. And because my KPI has been affected by your incompetence, then we're going to fight. That also is something you must ensure you do. Then if you've done that correctly, then you should listen to the source of conflict. Where's it coming from? So you identify those conflicts and now have a plan for each of them. The way you resolve resource conflicts is different from the way you resolve value-oriented conflicts. It's different from the way you resolve, should I say, handling team priorities. What should we do first? So all of these conflicts, you need to know how, and somebody doesn't know how to talk among the team. You know, it's not sensitive to other people's culture. It lacks emotional intelligence. So what to know, where is this conflict coming from? So that we can address it from the root. Okay, that's majorly how to do that.
Very, very interesting, things you made mention of there. And another point I would like us to speak to just before we move on to the other part of conflict management is just to give people an understanding of the extent through which conflict could affect an organization. How bad can it be?
Most times when I want to explain this, when I do trainings, I usually draw two goats. Put a little rope around their neck, then put food on one side, food on the other side, that if they're not going to come together, they're not going to achieve anything. So the only way they can finish their food is going there and doing it collaboratively and also doing it collaboratively. So now, if we conflict, if there are team conflicts and we don't resolve it, we'll never. He said a house divided against itself
can never stand.
Can never stand.
True.
So we cannot achieve anything if we don't resolve conflicts. So it's not something that a team lead can just overlook and say it will fix itself.
Or sort yourselves out.
No, it drains the team. It drains the team. It drains the team. They cannot achieve. Because everybody's thinking the conflict. And there's a way conflicts kill your thinking capacity. Because you're not thinking freely. So one of the ways you have to do it, teams must just address it. Sometimes you might have to, if you've tried all you can, you might have to remove the bad apple. Just like how they removed Jonah from the ship and everything was okay. There's some people, no matter what you do, the conflict will go on.
Once you don't see changes, it's important that you take the next step.
You have to just do something,
This particular, question I'd like to talk about, to also get your opinion on is, what's your standpoint when it comes to having policies? Do you think policies are effective enough to handle conflict, or they could vary and so policies might not exactly tackle them appropriately? What would you say?
Yeah, policies can handle it too, should I say, because it's organizational. And policies define our culture. So if everybody will align with our culture, which includes our code of conduct and ethics, don't talk down at people. These are the things we don't do. We don't shout. Whenever we want to resolve conflict and majority, then everybody aligns. We have majority agreement. So all those things are clear. So even if you don't have it in your policy, every team member, every team lead, or if you're running self-managed teams, you must have a team charter saying that in case there's conflict, this is what we're going to do. We don't raise voice. We don't walk out on each other. We don't do this. So we've listed all those things you cannot do. So if that is not stated, then you cannot control anyone. Like I tell people that if the reason why people don't urinate on the floor, on the roads in the UK, is because there are policies. Why are they urinating on the roads in the parts of Nigeria? There are no policies.
No one is doing anything about it.
And when there's a policy, you must also enforce the policy. That you make sure that every team member that breaks the policy, team conflict-related policies will be sanctioned, no matter how right you are. You can be correct and you now walk out on the team. If it's the policy that you don't walk out, then no matter what it is, we must address those things. So it helps everybody even control themselves a bit. Then, it's possible I'm working within the policy, but internally, I'm still grieving. I'm still not happy. So we want to make sure we communicate the goals, the goal requirements. What is your role? Now, because if your grief is not affecting your role, it means that you should leave the team. So you must be able to handle, that's why emotional intelligence is very important, to be able to practice what we call professional detachment. Whenever you...
Wait, let's unpack that. What is professional detachment?
It's about you separating the person away from the conflict. This guy is doing this, but that doesn't mean this guy is negative. So if we now say because this guy's behavior makes him bad, then we have issues. So we should be able to disagree at work and hold ourselves out of the room as friends.
Powerful.
So, but because we disagreed in the boardroom, it means that we've disagreed in life. There's a problem. So we must separate workplace conflict from
personal
relationship.
And don't also bring your personal relationship into the workplace.
Yeah.
Because I don't like you, anything you do is wrong then.
Excellent. So detach yourself from what needs to be done and separate it. Because if I feel you're my friend, and that's why I don't want to say I don't want to have any disagreement with you, then it's going to kill the goals of the company because there's already conflict of interest. You know, you're trying to protect the goals and also protect the friendship. There's a conflict of interest. So you need people that are matured, that can have sense of professional detachment and make sure that and also, of course, it's cultural also in this part of the world. People here believe that if you're my friend, you should not report to me. If you're my friend,
you should always have my back.
My back, and all those things. So these are cultural issues, nuisances that we should remove off the way and make sure that we focus on the goals required.
Amazing. And just as we wrap up the show today, I would like you to specifically speak to leaders. Because, of course, they're the ones who get to manage the teams. They're the ones who get to manage the conflicts. How would you advise that they best build emotional intelligence? Because you made mention of it as a key point, you know, something so critical to have if you must navigate this, arena of conflict. So how do leaders build that up? So
number one, a leader must understand himself. Because it might also be the leader's worldview that is also biased. So that's a problem. So as a leader, you must be universal. You must be able to work with people, level playing field. Either someone aligns with your own, shall I say, your own specific, someone aligns with your own values, or someone does not align with your values. So when the person does not conflict with the values of the organization. So we should be able to manage that. That's one. Number two is as leaders, we must also learn how to manage diverse team, And number three, I feel a leader must always listen, listen to teams, the unsaid, the said, what they're not saying. You need to be very attentive to your team. And now when you say build emotional intelligence now, which is also very critical, it takes a life journey. It takes something you must constantly evaluate. Are you growing? And the first thing, if you remember this guy, Daniel Goleman on EI, he said you must be self-aware. This is who I am as a leader too. So you must also understand each of your team members. That also will allow you to know how each of them function, how you have to pay attention.
Deal with them.
Then you now know how to manage them while you're also regulating yourself. Because you must regulate yourself. You must not say things the way you also feel. If feelings drive what a leader does, there's a problem already. So a leader too must be able to, hold back and manage different people, mediate if need be, and make sure you are not taking sides. Very, very important. And I feel AI grows over time, but in this part of the world, people are not deliberate about building it. That's a problem. They just believe that it's going to come over them over time. But I feel that if it's AI, you need a strong AI to manage diverse people. Just like at home, you need AI to manage your children because they're different also. So you need to be able to develop. AI is something you have to. If I start going deep into AI now,
we might take
I'm just thinking that. I will take your time on the show.
I understand. And I think big takeaways for me on the show today would be the first, leaders must be universal. So be a universal leader. And another I love would be the analogy of the two goats. I think that would stick with me for the longest time. If both parties are trying to get to the same thing but are going at loggerheads, you would never get there. So you need to agree, where are we going? How do we get there? And that could also help. And most importantly, conflicts could literally drag an organization from growth, progress. You think about it. And so it's important that leaders are able to handle this properly. Mr. Ajibola, we can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
We can't thank you enough. And we're really glad that you make time out of your busy schedule to come do this with us. every time we ask.
That's
and,
okay.
You know, one of these days we'll just gift you something really that would blow your mind, right?
Thank you.
So we'll just be looking forward to that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone who joined in on the show today. And of course, it's so important that you do not benefit all of this alone. What do I mean? Share the link. Share the message. Let other people hear about it. You have friends in leadership. Let them listen to this video, right? Because we all grow together, right? And we're holding each other's hands. So like, subscribe, share the link, and do well to follow us all across our social media platforms. Till the next show, do have a lovely day.
Seed Academy, your growth partner.